I'm so excited today to share the Paleo Empanada recipe that my family and I eat at least once a month. It's one of our favorite recipes. We have it on Friday nights when we have picnic night, where we sit in front of the TV and we watch a movie and really just kind of enjoy the time together. That's very casual, but it's a little bit more special, a little bit more kid foodie, kind of toddler foodie kind of night. And this has been on our menu now for, I would say like 8 years maybe. It's been a long time. So it's one of our favorites, and I'm so excited to share it with you today. These empanadas are so good and surprisingly easy to make. To do so, first put gelatin into water to let it soak for a bit. Then brown some ground beef. I'm using a 1.5 pound Costco package, but even a 1 pound package is more than enough to make 6 empanadas. As I'll show you in a bit, I like making extra ground beef so I can add it to salads and other dishes later. While the beef is browning, add tapioca starch, potato flour, and sea salt to a large bowl and mix well. Usually around this time, the beef is done browning, so add taco seasoning, tomato paste, and water to the beef and stir well. I typically use Primal Palate's taco seasoning, but any will work here. Lower the heat down to a simmer and let it just hang out while you finish the dough for the empanadas. You'll need some oil for this recipe. I personally love an equal mixture of avocado oil and olive oil for the best taste, but you could just use one or the other if that's what you have on hand. Add the oil to the bowl with the water and gelatin, then add eggs to the bowl as well. I typically crack the eggs into the measuring cup and not directly into the bowl. And as you can see, I paid for that since I got a shell in the bowl. So don't do that, use the measuring cup. Then whisk the liquids together until well incorporated. Pour the wet ingredients into the dry ones and mix well until it becomes a solid doughy mixture. At that point, I like to knead it with my hands a bit to make sure all of the flour is incorporated into the dough. Split the mixture into 6 parts by first dividing it into half, and then each of those halves into 3 pieces each. If you haven't already set the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, do that and grab a baking sheet. I also use a silicone mat so the empanadas don't stick to the pan, but you can use parchment. And now's the fun part where you can channel your inner Play-Doh loving toddler. Split each ball into 2 pieces. One will be the top and one will be the bottom of each empanada. Flatten each one into a circle. They'll be approximately 4 to 5 inches wide. I like to flatten the first 3 balls of dough so I can fill all 3 at once with the ground beef mixture, but you can also flatten and fill 1 empanada at a time if you'd rather. Once you have the circles flattened, put 1 to 2 spoonfuls of the ground beef mixture onto half of the circles. Then carefully lift one of the other circles of dough and lay it on top of the ground beef mixture. It's okay if it splits a bit. I'll show you what to do in a sec. Working from one side of the circle, roll up the edges of the bottom circle and crimp it to the top circle to form a seal. This does not have to be pretty. You just want to make sure they're smushed together, sealing any gaps. When you're done with the first 3 empanadas, continue rolling out more dough. You may have to do this one at a time though because of limited space on the pan. If you do have any holes in the dough, just pinch it and pat it closed with your fingers. These are very forgiving. If you're fitting it all onto one pan like I do, you can pat out the last circle with your hands since there really isn't any space left on the sheet pan to roll it out. Then you should have 6 little pillows of dough filled with ground beef. You could do an egg wash on top if you'd like, but I've only done that once in the last 8 years and it really doesn't make that much of a difference to me. Put the pan into the oven to bake for 30 minutes. As for any leftover ground beef, save it for later. As I mentioned before, I love saving it to use on salads, or you could throw it into a taco, using the sweet potato taco bowl recipe I shared recently, or anywhere where taco meat works. And then once the empanadas are done, take them out of the oven. These little packets of yumminess are so good. As I mentioned before, we have this for our movie picnic or micnic night, and we serve ours with fries, and I'll have a cider to go with it. So I wouldn't say this is the healthiest of meals. I also think it's important to have fun meals like this in one's diet, and at least it's something fun we can have that is gluten-free and won't make us sick for days. And that's it. I hope you enjoy this as much as we do. And if you're looking for an easy weeknight meal, check out this sweet potato taco meal, which is really easy to make, kid and family friendly, and really delicious as well. I'll see you next time.